This is the CycVerve 1400 watt Step-Thru fat tire electric bike. The biggest thing I noticed right away is how it makes steep climbs and rough paths feel easy without taking away that simple, satisfying feeling of pedaling a real bicycle. It sits in that city cruiser category, the kind of electric bike I would recommend to commuters, casual riders, and anyone who wants a comfortable way back into cycling. If you are new to electric bikes and a little unsure about balance or starting and stopping, the Step-Thru frame makes it welcoming. If you already ride and just want more range and a lot more help on hills, the motor and the big tires make daily rides calmer and faster. The design is straightforward in the best way. The Step-Thru frame is low enough that I can get on and off without swinging a leg high, which sounds small, but it changes how I ride. I stop more often, I roll into errands more easily, and I never hesitate in traffic. The frame is aluminum, so it is lighter than it looks, and the battery sits inside the downtube, which keeps the weight centered and protected from rain. The wheels are full size at about 26 inches, wrapped in fat tires that are roughly 4 inches wide. Those tires are not just for show. They smooth out cracked city streets, they float over gravel paths, and they let me ride on firm sand without sinking. I expected them to feel sluggish, but the rolling feel is surprisingly quick once they are up to speed. Fenders front and rear keep grime off my clothes, and a sturdy rear rack is ready for panniers or a crate. The bike has suspension at the front fork and at the rear, and that, combined with the fat tires, takes the sting out of potholes and curbs. The riding position is upright and relaxed, and the handlebar height and angle are easy to dial in. I did not need a pile of tools, just a couple of standard ones, and small tweaks made a big difference in comfort over an hour ride. Setup was straightforward. Out of the box I attached the front wheel, the handlebar, the pedals, and the fenders, and routed a couple of cables that were clearly labeled. It took me around half an hour going slowly and double-checking my steps. If you have never built a bike before, give yourself a little extra time or get a friend to help, but there was nothing tricky. The removable battery locks into the frame with a key, and charging is simple. I measured a full charge in roughly 4 to 5 hours from almost empty. The display boots quickly, the control buttons are easy to reach with my thumb, and the pedal assist levels make sense. I start most rides in a low assist setting and tick it up as hills appear. When I need a burst, I press the thumb throttle and the bike moves without pedaling. I prefer a thumb throttle over a twist throttle because my grip stays stable when I am parking or repositioning, and there is less chance of an accidental surge. Speed and responsiveness feel natural. The motor comes in smoothly as I start pedaling. It does not jerk me forward and it does not lag. At lower assist levels, the bike feels like a strong tailwind. At higher assist, it feels like someone is giving me a firm push up the road. Off the line at a stoplight, the bike gets up to pace fast enough to mix with car traffic without drama. Braking is handled by hydraulic disc brakes at both wheels, and they have a solid, predictable bite. I can modulate them with 1 or 2 fingers, and they stay quiet even on long descents. Now for the power. The motor peaks at around 1,400 watts, which matters less as a number and more as a feeling. On my steep neighborhood climb, which I usually grind up in a low gear, the bike walks up with almost no effort when I set the assist high. With the throttle alone, it holds momentum where a lower power bike would gradually lose steam. I regularly carry a backpack with a laptop and groceries on the rack, and the motor never feels overwhelmed. The manufacturer mentions around 30% slope capability, and my experience matches that in realistic city riding. I am not sprinting up the face of a mountain, but short, sharp hills and long gradual grades are easy. Battery life has been dependable. The pack is 48 volts and roughly 15.5 amp hours. On lower assist levels with steady pedaling, I am getting more than 60 miles on a charge. When I spend a whole afternoon using the maximum assist and throttle a lot, the range drops as expected, but I still end most rides with plenty in reserve. The battery readout is consistent, and I like that the pack is protected inside the frame. I have ridden through light rain, and everything stayed dry and rattle-free. I charge every few days instead of every night, which fits real life better than constantly plugging in. Real-world testing has covered a bit of everything. On city streets with patchy pavement, the combination of fat tires and suspension gives me a calm ride. Cracks and potholes that used to jar my wrists now feel like a dull thud, and I stay in control. On a hard-packed beach path, the bike tracked straight and did not dig in. On loose sand it still struggled because every bike does, but on firm sections it was actually fun. On my mixed commute, which includes a short trail, a busy boulevard, and a couple of steep blocks, the bike stays stable and quiet. No rattles, no creaks. The drivetrain uses a 7-speed Shimano setup, which shifts cleanly. I use the lower gears with low assist when I want some exercise, and I click up the gears as I increase assist for speed on the flats. A typical use case for me is a Saturday morning grocery run. I clip 2 panniers to the rear rack, roll out in a low assist level to warm up, and bump it up when I hit the hill near the market. I leave the bike outside with a small lock, pop off the battery if I will be a while, and then load everything up without worrying about the weight on the way home. If traffic is sticky, I use the throttle to jump across intersections safely. Back on my street, there is a short rough patch from construction. The suspension and tires glide over it, and the fenders keep the dust and water off my pants. I get back feeling like I rode, but not sweaty or tired. A few smart touches stand out. The Step-Thru frame means I never have to think about what I am wearing or how tired I am. I just step through and ride. The headlight is a bright light emitting diode unit that throws a wide beam, and the tail light has a blinking mode that gets attention in twilight. Those both make a visible difference in low light. The display is simple and readable, though under very bright midday sun, I sometimes need to tilt it a little to cut glare. The controls are intuitive, and the machine remembers my last assist level. The motor engagement is tuned well for slow speed maneuvers, like threading through a narrow gate or rolling up to a crosswalk. That low speed control matters more than raw top speed for everyday safety and confidence. There are trade-offs. The bike weighs about 75 pounds, and that is the number that matters if you have to carry it upstairs. I can lift the front or rear to get it over a threshold, but I do not want to haul it up a long flight. Rolling it into an elevator or a garage is fine. It also takes up real space. If your apartment is tiny, plan on where it will live. Out of the box, the saddle is padded and neutral. I found it fine for an hour or so, then I swapped to one that fits me better. That is an easy change and more about my body than the bike itself. During assembly, I had a moment of hesitation with a couple of cable routes, but the manual made it clear, and I had no issues once everything was seated. After a week of riding, the rear suspension needed a quarter turn of adjustment to stop a slight squeak, and it has been silent since. Comfort is where this bike quietly wins me over. The upright posture keeps my back and shoulders relaxed. The bars, the saddle height, and the reach all have enough adjustment that I could find a sweet spot quickly. The fat tires run best at a pressure that balances cushion and rolling speed. Once dialed in, the feeling is calm and planted. The pedal assist system is a big part of that. It is not all or nothing. It is a slider for how much help I want. On days when I want some effort, I keep it low and use the gears. On long rides back home or when a headwind picks up, I nudge it higher and enjoy the glide. The throttle is my favorite feature in traffic. It lets me clip in, push off, and stabilize without a hard pedal stroke. It also makes slow speed parking feel controlled. If you are a beginner, the ease of use is going to give you confidence. The start is smooth, the brakes are strong without being harsh, and the Step-Thru design lowers the stress of awkward dismounts. If you are more experienced, you are going to appreciate the torque on hills, the predictable handling at speed, and the simple practicality of fenders, lights, and a real rack. The power is there when you need it, and the range is long enough that I stopped thinking about it after the first few rides. I just charge every couple of days and ride. In the end, I see this as a bike for riders who want comfort and control above all, with real power in reserve. It is for commuters who face hills, for weekend explorers who want to reach that trail without showing up exhausted, and for anyone who wants an electric bike that behaves like a friendly tool, not a finicky gadget. I would not pick it if I had to carry it up multiple flights of stairs every day, or if I had almost no storage space. For everything else, it has been a dependable, enjoyable ride that fits easily into daily life. You can find detailed information about the CycVerve 1400W Step-Thru Fat Tire Electric Bike in the comments section. See you in the next video.